Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is 27th February. Do you know what is celebrated on 27th February every year? If you thought it's a World Polar Bear Day, you're right. So, today, on this occasion, let's learn 10 freezing facts about the polar bears. The first fact is that polar bears are classified as marine mammals. Yes, as they spend most of their lives on the sea ice of the Arctic Ocean and also depend on the ocean for their food and habitat, polar bears are the only bear species to be considered marine mammals. The next and the second fact will shock most of you. The fact is that a polar bear skin is actually black. Beneath all that thick fur, polar bears have jet black skin. The polar bear's fur is also translucent and only appears white because it reflects visible light. Now, you know who was the root to all these confusions. Yes, it was the snow. If you still don't believe me, you can spot the difference in these two images. So, as you can see in this picture, this is a normal polar bear with fur. And this is the same polar bear without any fur. The third fact is that they can swim constantly for days at a time. As well as reaching speeds of up to 6 miles per hour in the water, polar bears can swim for long distances and steadily for many hours to get from one piece of ice to another. Do you know what helps them to swim? Their large paws are specially adapted for swimming, which they'll use to paddle through the water while holding their hind legs flat like a rudder. Did you know that nowadays, usually, polar bears have to swim for up to 100 miles in search for icebergs? Yes, this is due to the increase in amount of global warming. In this clip, you just saw a polar bear swimming. Like the second fact, the fourth one is also a shocking fact. The fact is that scientists can extract polar bear DNA from just their footprints. Not only that, but this method also finds the DNA of the seal it had recently eaten. This is an innovative new technique developed by WWF and DNA specialist firm Spigen, which allows scientists to isolate DNA from a polar bear's footprint in the snow. The fifth fact is that they face more threats than climate change. While climate change remains the greatest threat to the polar bear's survival, that is not all that the predator is up against. The oil and gas industry is turning its eyes to the Arctic, and with it comes the potential risks of habitat destruction from oil exploration work. Contact with oil spills can reduce the insulating effect of a bear's fur, requiring them to use more energy to get warm, and can poison them if ingested. Polar bears can also be exposed to toxic chemicals such as pesticides through their prey, as you can see in this food chain. As you can see, planktons feed on algae, krill feed on plankton, the Arctic cod feeds on the krill, the leopard seal feeds on the Arctic cod, and finally the polar bear feeds on the leopard seal. So, the pesticides will affect the algae, indirectly affecting the polar bear. This can affect a bear's biological functioning and ability to reproduce, gradually making the species extinct. Melting sea ice from climate change has increased human-polar bear conflicts when hungry polar bears go searching for food in the summer. Fortunately, people are learning to adapt to the polar bear's presence and take preventive measures to reduce the risk of conflict. One of the many ways to reduce the human-bear conflicts are they can be relocated by wildlife officials from human areas. Just like the second and the fourth fact, the sixth fact is also going to shock most of you. The fact is that polar bears are the largest land carnivorous animal. Yes, In this picture, you can compare a polar bear with a tiger. This is the Siberian tiger, which is the largest member of the big cat family. In this picture, you can compare a human child, a human, and the grizzly bear to the polar bear. In this picture, you can compare a fake but real sized polar bear in a museum to a human. I would also like to add some more information in this fact. The information is that an average polar bear can weigh around 10 men. Without wasting any time, let's move on to the 7th fact. The fact is that grizzly polar bear hybrids exist. But that is just the half part of the fact. The full fact is that grizzly and polar bear hybrids exist in the zoos as well as in the wild. Yes, in 2006, genetic testing confirmed the existence of polar bear grizzly bear hybrids, also known as growlar or pizzly bears in the wild. This is due to the overlap in polar bear and grizzly bear habitat in Western Canadian Arctic around the Beaufort Sea. Growlar bear is a hybrid born from a male grizzly bear and a female polar bear, and a pizzly bear is a hybrid born from a male polar bear and a female grizzly bear. The hybrid bear physically resembles an intermediate between the two species, but as wild hybrids are usually birthed from polar bear mothers, they are raised and behave like polar bears. The ability for polar bears and grizzly bears to interbreed is unsurprising when you consider that polar bears evolved from brown bears as recently as 150,000 years ago. The 8th fact is that there are as many as 19 subpopulations of the polar bear. The total population of approximately 26,000 wild polar bears are divided into 19 units or subpopulations. Of these, just one population is increasing, 5 are stable, and 4 are in decline. The remaining 9's population is unknown. The 9th fact is that their noses look cute like a teddy's nose, but it is extremely strong. Did you know that they can smell the prey up to a kilometer away? Did you know that their sense of smell helps them to find seal breathing holes in the ice? They can even detect a seal in the water beneath a meter of compacted snow. The last but the most interesting fact is that less than 2% of polar bear hunts are successful. Although about half of a polar bear's life spent hunting for food, their hunts are rarely successful. A polar bear's main prey consists of ring seals and bearded seals, which they hunt in a variety of ways. Either by breaking into pupping dens, waiting at the breathing holes or at the water's edge, or even stalking seals that have hauled out to rest on the ice. Besides catching seals, polar bears will also scavenge carcasses on settle for small mammals, birds, eggs, and vegetation. The video ends here. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe my channel and like this particular video. Thank you for watching the video. See you soon.